see what they did to me. You see what I look like. I've been huntsman all my life. All my life. Yes, sir. No, sir. I never looked him in the eye. And I've been always smiling at him. You see what they did? They treat me like a dog, Rose. They don't want me to even have the thought that I'm a man. They gonna do the same. They gonna do the same thing to Brooks, and they gonna do the same thing to Brooks' kids, and they gonna do the same thing to their kids. And this has gotta stop. This has gotta stop, bro. And you niggas kill each other for $20 bills. Remember that. You niggas kill each other for $20 bills. Alright? That's another motherfucker who they worship in this land. They worship all the murderers, all these terrorists they worship, but they call you a fucking terrorist or identity extremist for you learning your fucking culture and you trying to fucking just tap into who you was prior to these people colonizing you and making you assimilate into this culture. Andrew Jackson was a slaver, an ethnic cleanser, okay, and tyrant. He deserved no place on Federal Reserve notes. He don't deserve to be part of nothing. He's the damn devil. How many black people have the last name Jackson? Okay? Raise your hand. How many Indians have you ever heard with the last name Jackson? How many? You think about it. How many Indians you know with the last name Jackson? You show me any Mongoloids or any Latino Hispanic people with the last name Jackson. Show me one. Because Andrew Jackson was capturing fucking Indian enslaved, but the Indians were black people. Okay? The Indians were black people. So why don't you see any Indians with the last name Jackson? Bo Jackson? Michael Jackson? Michael Tito? Marlon Jackson? Latoya Jackson? Janet Jackson? It goes on and on and on. All the way to my fucking classmate Robert Jackson. They're just violations of the common law. Now, normally, this would not be something that indigenous folks in the U.S. would be able to pursue in the manner that I'm pursuing it, because the first thing they would be going in an improper status. They would be going in as Native Americans. Now, what we have to do is divorce ourselves from the emotion and the history that's tied behind these terms, and really just look at what they mean from a legal perspective. And when you look at the term Native American, what it means is a natural-born citizen of America. Nothing to do with being Aboriginal, nothing to do with being indigenous. If you really want some information or some good background on it, if you check out the movie Gangs of New York, you'll see there that when the immigrants were coming into New York City, the Native Americans were fighting with the immigrants, the English people who had been there. They were saying that we're the real Native Americans, we're the real citizens that were born here, you all are immigrants. Same stuff that's happening today. What I have gone into and what we filed in the court was as an American Aborigine. So no, I'm not a natural-born citizen of America. I'm an American Aborigine of the original people of America. So it gives me a different status and standing. And really what it does is it places me in the status of being a foreign national to the U.S., not to my land, but to the U.S. government, because it's on my land and I'm a separate nation from them, but also what they call a non-resident inhabitant, because our people inhabit these lands. They've been here for forever. They did not move here. They did not immigrate here. We inhabit these lands. So going into the court as an American Aborigine, foreign national and non-resident inhabitant and tribal citizen of the Mashipag Nahagansett tribe, I now am able to pursue other lawful and legal avenues that I would not be able to if I was going in as a Native American. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we filed this in the proper court. Now, most times when you go into federal court, you're going into United States District Courts of Rhode Island. This particular case is in Rhode Island. They transferred it. But they transferred it from the District Court of the United States. So you have to pay attention to the language there. They transferred it from the District Court of the United States to the United States District Court. District Court of the United States is what they call Article 3 or constitutional courts. They hear constitutional issues. United States District Courts are Article 4 or administrative courts. So taxation, all of the rules and regulations that are imposed upon U.S. citizens. So most of our indigenous folks go in as Native Americans into an administrative court arguing constitutional issues, and they can't get anywhere. We filed this in the district court. They kicked it to the United States District Court of Rhode Island. I gave them help in a few things. We ended up just refiling it again. They kicked it out again. Then they sent me a notice because we filed a corpus form. After they questioned whether I really was who I was, and I sent them all of the documentation, then it was, well, you have to pay $400 for the filing. Now, Indians aren't supposed to pay for the filings, but decided, okay, let's pay the $400 filing. Pay the $400 filing on October 4th. I get a letter on the 11th telling me that my case had been dismissed because I did not pay my filing. So I have to go back the next week and show them, hey, look, I have all of my receipts and everything. I'm not sure what you mean. They go and check, and somehow, some way, the United States District Court, a federal court, the clerk or the assistant clerk neglected to add my receipt into the system. So once I clarified all of that, they told me no problem, we'll send an email out. I get a personal letter from the assistant court clerk apologizing for the mishap and sending me my documentation so that we can serve the state of Rhode Island, city of Providence, and city of Cranston. Now, for those who have not been as involved with the case, let me just read what some of the specific counts are, because this is going to be public knowledge in a few anyway. The overall case, of course, is environmental racism, and that's doing things to denigrate my natural inhabitation specifically because of who I was. So we know that the state of Rhode Island detribalized the Narragansett Indian tribe specifically because they were Indians and their land claims. We know that they reclassified members of the tribe to things other than an Indian, which is an aborigine of North America or South America, to classifications such as colored, black, all of these other things. My fourth great grandfather, Bristol Michael, was one of the chiefs of the Narragansett Indian tribe in 1881 when they got detribalized. If you look up the report from the Commission on Indian Affairs, you'll see his name all in there. They identified him as one of the chiefs who could decide who was a member of the tribe and who wasn't. And I have a copy of his birth certificate, and lo and behold, he's colored. So how does the chief of a tribe go from being a chief to when he dies being colored? So this is showing all part of the processes and the things that they went through in order to remove us from our proper status as who we are and to take our power away to stop them from doing things to our land that we didn't agree with. So when we actually get into the actual case, so the first count is under international law, Alien Tort Claim Statute, just coded in the federal common law. The plaintiff holds by right aboriginal ancestral title to and the exclusive right to occupy under trust the aforementioned lands as stated described therein. So basically the first argument is that you took my land and it's not yours, it's mine. That's the first thing. You took my land and it's mine. You've never compensated, you just took it. And this is speaking specifically to the Mashapog area. And this starts uncovering a lot of the dirty secrets that Rhode Island's been holding. So that's the first thing. You took my land and it's mine, and you took it. Count 2 is a constitutional violation of 42 U.S.C. Statute 1983 claim against the state, and that's for an unconstitutional taking of my land without proper remedy. So that's a violation of the U.S. Constitution. You can't take something from someone and not give them remedy or compensation for it. Count 3 is violation of Article 1, Section 16 of the Rhode Island Constitution. Once again, you took my land and did not compensate me for it. Count 4 is a violation of the ICERD Convention. It states, the acts of defendants constitute a permanent and substantial interference with the right of the plaintiff and plaintiff's tribes to a fair procedure, right of use to aboriginal ancestral lands and territories, the right to life, food, water, health, the right to environmental protections against racial discrimination, in the right to self-determine actions to establish self-sustainability without infringement. That's count 4. Count 5 is a violation of the Apartheid Convention, because not only did you take my land, you reclassified me, and then you forced me into a situation where I had to come work for institutions, businesses that you set up. So initially it was being forced onto a reservation, being forced into indentured servitude. Then once you drained everything out of us from that, you forced us to sell off whatever lands that you had given us, which is crazy. You're giving us our own lands. You raised the taxes on them and took them from us. Then a lot of us had to move to other areas to find employment to take care of our livelihoods. That was not how our people lived. We hunted, we fished, we shared with each other. So it's a form of apartheid here in the U.S. done upon indigenous folks by destroying whatever they had and forcing them to be a part of your system at their detriment. And then, the last count after that one is count 6, just environmental racism. Once again, you denigrated my habitat specifically because I was Indian. You came into Ahchwa, you allowed companies to come in and dump into the lake there. If you go, to the pond, if you go over to the pond, they have things up right now that say don't walk over here, and if you do, take off your shoes and clean them before you get home because the land's so toxic. So my dignitary chief is there, one of my council chiefs is here, a couple of the members are here. Our real question to the state is, if we decided today to give up all of this colonial structure that's been placed upon us, how would we go back and live our natural lives in our natural habitats? We can't. You ruined that for us, and there's no going back. So we need to be fairly compensated for that. Now, our ultimate goal and our hope with the state is that they'll do the right thing and settle with us. We reached out to them, a year and a half ago? A year and a half ago, expressing to them who we were, what we were requiring, but mainly that this was not our interest in being adversarial with the state. We didn't want to come and make enemies. This isn't about getting back at you for what you did to our people. It's about the fact that you did something wrong and you need to make amends for it, because we can't move forward collectively, all of the communities that are here, unless we address what the wrongs in the past were. I matured past the point of being angry about this sort of stuff, because my anger was taking me down roads that weren't beneficial to me moving my people forward. So instead I focused that anger into being progressive and productive. So I'm going to angrily force you to do things that are positive for my people. I'm going to passionately call you out on all of your mess. I'm going to pull out all of this information about who my people are and what you did to us that I'm sure a lot of Rhode Islanders don't know about. There was a certain point where they were saying there was no more Indians in Rhode Island. And yet I'm looking around, and it's just craziness to me. So this gets into what, and it goes beyond Rhode Island, because this is what happened in places all around the country. Right now, the Poconokees have a suit here in Rhode Island. I believe they're going to be doing one in Mass as well. Sandhill Band of Lenape and Cherokee Indians have one in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York as well, because this is not anything that is specific or solely Rhode Island. This is a policy that came out of Virginia and just swept the entire country, because they realized that they messed up by never getting treaties with the tribes here. They got them when they went out west, so they had a legal document that said the land was theirs, but here after King Philip's War, they massacred us, they sent us to reservations, and they took the land. No contract. So, right now, reached out to our fantastic friends at FANG as part of the process.
Shalom, that was Two Hawks. That was our brother Two Hawks. And he says they massacred us, drove us off the land, pushed us to reservations. Raymond Watson, Two Hawks, man, he's not playing.
Reached out to our fantastic friends at FANG. We're getting treaties with a document that said the land was theirs, but here after King Philip's War, they massacred us, they sent us to reservations, and they took the land.
Is that what we talking about right now? Massacre. Sent us to reservations and took our land. And they trying to talk about we just colored folk from Africa. Why is that? Man, y'all get all of that drop. That's Two Hawks, Raymond Watson. Y'all get all of that drop from the Pocono tribe. Y'all get all of that. And y'all know that other drop. I know that brother sound familiar. That's Autochthonous One. Man, me and that brother gonna be doing an interview soon, but Autochthonous One, that brother been hitting you over the head, man. Y'all get that drop, the Autochthonous One. Get that drop. Get that drop. But we gonna continue where we left off, man. Y'all heard me talk about the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek. We all over this Mississippi, man. We all over the Mississippi lands, because, oh man, we know that's home. That's home for our so-called Choctaw Indians. Now we got so many, as you know, tribes within that regional tribe, that Choctaw tribe. All right, so that's what we looking for. We're looking to get down to the root. Get down to the root. What it do? Oh no, we're trying to get to that root of our tribe. So what I'm doing is what everybody can do. Is what everybody could do. But we just breaking it down. We need more. We need more. Let me see. I'll find it later. But trying to get these clues together, man. But let's check out this treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek, and we get into it. We downloaded. First of all, this is for all the naysayers. We brought this book back up. This is America being the latest and greatest and most accurate description of the, as they call it, New World, containing the original of the inhabitants. All right, so we can find out what kind of inhabitants were. Remarkable voyages till the conquest of vast empires of Mexico and Peru. Alright, a large province and territories with several European plantations in those parts. Also their cities, fortresses, towns, temples, mountains, and rivers and habits. Alright, man, we looking for food. Alright, I ain't gonna talk about it. Let's just go all the way through it. What we hear, man, what up, so-called, whatever you so-called call yourself, that's been given to you by somebody else. Alright, what we doing, we talking to the indigenous root. Alright, those of you who got that indigenous ruach, you know what I'm saying, the feeling in your blood, that red dirt, understand. From Khalifa to Aslan, this is your land. Alright, this is your land. Alright. Now, America being the latest and greatest, on page 39. On page 39 in that book. Now, we've been here before. Man. We didn't cover all of this. From the Indian Acts to the Indian removals to Plecker and the Attorney General in the hospitals with the so-called Negro Indian babies who couldn't call themselves nothing but colored. Man, listen. There's no more room for a hijack. No more room for a hijack. We've been down the road with the Ancestry.coms and all those feudal fake DNA websites and businesses that you already know. That shit is a hoax. All you niggas running the Ancestry.com talking about I'm part Zamunda. Come on, man. I'm part hunter-gatherer and all this shit, man. Come on, man. Wake up. Promotional ads. Don't let them run promotional ads on you, my indigenous root. Listen, I'm not talking to those. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. I'm not talking to the foreigners. I'm talking about to the Ruach. I'm talking about to the sanctuary, to who land, the caretakers of this land, the Ame'ricans. Alright? Wakey bakey. Don't let him 52 fakey. Alright? Don't get lost in the sauce. We've been here from day one. Alright, so in this book, America being the latest and greatest description of the new world, which is really the old world, right? On page 39, y'all check it out, because I can't even read that small, but I couldn't get the book I couldn't get it no bigger. But that's not the point. The point is, you go find this book right here, America being the latest and greatest description of the new world, right? And then when you find this book, let me see if I can get it closer. You go to page 39, right? There we go. We getting somewhere. Oh shit. No. Where you going? Where you going? Come back. Where you going? Hold up. Alright. Now, if we can get up in there. Alright, page 39. It says, they use, indeed, bow and arrows, clubs, and a kind of spear. Their houses are covered with palm tree leaves. Their household councils, only a few. I can't really read that, alright? Because with the version that we got is just, it's smaller. We can't zoom in much. Okay, yet they have the skill in weaving, and though they go naked, pride themselves in necklaces and bear laces, and bracelets made of mother of pearl. But these, for their complexions and constitution of body and manes, are derived from something is derived from the Africans, then they from them. Okay, so he says something else about some body. I don't know if he's talking about tattoos or something is derived from the Africans, then they from them. So what they're doing on page 39 is distincting the Africans from these Americans, from these indigenous American people. All right, they're distincting the Africans, the Indians in Africa and the Indians in America. Okay, and manners are derived from the African, then from them, some manner. Okay, and therefore we much seek for their original from the north. Okay, the original from the north, from which are two ways. Okay, so they're saying that it's two ways that we could arrive in America. All right, from I can't read, some land in Greenland. I know one way is from the Greenland. All right, one way is from the Greenland, which endeavors to prove, okay, but contradicted. The other is out of the Tartary. So the Tartary, when they said that we came from the Americas, now they're assuming, all right. Remember how the nigga lies gonna tell you who was first. So, but when they're saying that the other is contradictory, saying that we came from the Tartary, because you know what I'm saying, they already know we didn't come from the Tartary. All right, because there was another group of people that came from the Tartary way after us. Okay, so they're saying that the only way we came is from the Greenland, which was from where? From Europe. All right, so really they just basically saying they have no idea where the indigenous people in America came from, because when we got there, they were already here living. They were already in their humble of homes. They were already growing. They had They had harvest. They had everything they need. They were already settled. And you could tell that we've been here for years. For years. Alright? So would that make us a Hamite? Nah, that wouldn't make us no Hamite. Alright? And y'all gotta excuse me a little bit, man. The weather is real funny up here. We down, I'm in Wisconsin, so we down to 30 and 40 degrees now. So, alright, so it is what it is, but as y'all can see in this book, America being the latest, greatest, blah, 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 of the Americas, right? Right? You can see America being the latest and most accurate description, alright? Description of the New World. Alright, so it says that we were a different race. The Americans were a different race. People in the North were a different race from the Africans, for one. And the fact that they don't know how we got over here. And for one, they didn't even say one of the options was from Africa. Alright, they said it was from the Greenland. Alright. Either from the Greenlands or from the Tartary. Alright. So, not only that, we got an official and a statistical register of the state of Mississippi, Mississippi Department of Archives and History. Ooh-wee. Mama, go get that man. Check this out. Check this out, family. Shabbatah. Check this out, family. Here we go again. Alright, we just leave it like that. Check this out, family. Now, this new drop we got, bam, hit you over the head with it. It's the official and the statistical register of the state of Mississippi. Ooh. Now, if I'm not correct, now y'all gonna have to follow me along on this, because all you gotta listen. We looking for food. Well, you gotta understand this is a process that we're doing. Alright, so we got some real good evidence. Alright, now, like I said before, this is the official and the statistical register of the state of Mississippi. Now let me tell you what this book entails. In the table of contents, it has the meaning of Mississippi, right? It has the Mississippi Indian tribes on page 2. Alright? But now, go down to page 24, it has the first white settlers in Mississippi. You know, think about that for a minute. Let me, while I blow my nose, give me 1 second. Think about that while I blow my nose. Give me 1 second. Alright, you thought about it? Sorry, Miss Jackson. Think about that. Now, if these so-called, the first white settlers, and not letting you know, so now it's being very distinctive. The first white settlers in Mississippi. Alright, now, once we know the rundown, alright, now, first of all, we're going to get the date. But second of all, once we know the rundown, there was documentation for all the ships that were coming over here, all the foreigners that was coming over here to this land to retrieve land. Alright, the first white settlers came over here with the first jobs, the first everything. Alright, but they were given a crutch. First of all, they were given slaves, which were not slaves, they were prisoners of war, right? Because this was a war. So they were prisoners, they were given prisoners of wars to be slaves. Those which were Indians, right? Indians which were what? So-called blacks, Negroes, colored, right? Remember the book about the history in America? Andrew Jackson loved to kill niggas. Remember that? Alright. So therefore, the first white settlers in Mississippi, and we talking about the broad Mississippi, not small Mississippi today, the broad Mississippi. All right, different counties. All right, and this is the crazy part. So the first white settlers being in Mississippi. Now, where did they come from? Those came from different parts of Europe. All right, but where did they come from? Europe. All right, remember those are your real Canaanites, right? So we know they came from those places where they call Africa, right? But the point is this: so they were given English names when they came over to Europe by black people, by black people. All right, but that's not the point. The point is these white settlers came over here to the Americas with English names, right? In return, they took your Hebrewic name, which is, when I say Hebrew, there's thousands of languages in Hebrew, just like Phoenician and Cherokee, Anahuia, different derivatives of dialects. Okay, so the point is that you weren't English. You did not have an English name. You did not have an English surname. So therefore, that was given to you by a white man, right? Who was given it to him by a black man, but that's not the point. The point is a black man who was from, that ain't the point. But the point, a so-called black man, but the point is that this white man who had the English name, who wasn't even his original name, because he didn't have an original name. So he was given a name which in return was given to you to be a slave, and was taken your indigenous name away from you. So therefore, which was your tribal names. So therefore, you understand what I'm going with this? So if you can figure out your last name, which you don't have to figure out, I mean your English surname, your English name that was given to you, you know it, right? All you have to do is connect it with the first white settler. The same name, connect the name, that name to the first one of the first white settlers in the state that you were from. So you see what I'm saying? Connect your name to that first white settler name. Whoever was the first white settlers given those group of English names that was given to you. All right. So if you were in the Mississippi area, Louisiana, Alabama, there's plenty documentation. All right, there's plenty of documentation. There's plenty of vital and statistical records that was registered. Okay, so once we get into that, all right, once we find this first white settler, right, with the same name as you, figure out the location and where did he get docked in at, what county. All right, so then down in 60 where, okay, so now we go back just to prove it, the inhabitants of Mississippi in 1816. This is in 1816. All right, 1816. Now the latest records that I got is from 1907. 1906. That was my great grandfather. All right, R.W. Bradford, Robert W. Bradford. All right, this is in 1906. All right. Now you got the inhabitants of Mississippi in 1816, right? 1906. Right, so you got the making of, or not the making, but then you have the first white settlers, in Mississippi. All right, let's find out when that was. But first, let's get the Mississippi Indian tribes, because what we want to do is get rid of this Choctaw, or we want to find out, before this civilized tribe. We want to find out, we want to get down to the tribal name, to your actual family names, okay, which will connect to the land, to the rivers, you know what I'm saying, to the plants, to the trees. Don't you know some of the trees have the same name as the tribes? The same trees have the same name as the tribes, the name of the trees. The trees are the tribes. The trees are you. You understand? So that you so connected to the land that you don't even know. So you have to remember these things. All right, so let's get into it. Let's check it out. So the meaning of Mississippi. All right, hold on 1 second. First white settlers. All right, the meaning of Mississippi. All right, the meaning of Mississippi. All right, the derivation and meaning of Mississippi have been variously given. Peter Pitchlin, who had an extensive knowledge of Indian language, in a letter to Columbus, to the Columbus Whig in 1861, traced the derivation of the word to the Choctaw. Okay, so the word Mississippi, he traced the derivation of the word to Choctaw. Mishai Scrupri, which he translated beyond age. Mishai Mishippuki. Mishippuki, which he translated means beyond age. Translated beyond age. And this translation is in conduct with the translation Father of Waters. So Mississippi meaning beyond age, right? Beyond age and Father of Waters. All right, which is generally accepted. Duprat sought to explain the name Mekashippi as a contradiction or a contraction of Chasipi, all right, meaning the ancient father of waters. All right, so somehow they putting a mesh in there. The ancient father of waters. It appears, however, that the southern Indians did not give the river such a name when the earliest explorers reached the coast. All right, the name given by the Gulf Coast Indians was written by the French as Malahouches, Michi Sipi, or something sounding like that, was the name given the river by the Indians of the Northwest, visited by La Salle and Marquette. Michi, the Michi or Missy, is the same in the meaning as Miko or creek or of the creek and other Muskogees. All right, so now we're getting into the tribal names. All right, the family names. All right, so y'all pay attention. All right, so this Michisipi, or something sounding like that, was the name given the river by the Indians of the Northwest, visited by the La Salle and Marquette. The Michi or Missy is the same in meaning as the Miko or Miko of the creek and other Muskogee, meaning great as an objective and chief of a moon. Chief as a moon, I think, or a mound, I'm not sure. The Michi or Michigan is the same word, okay? So Michi is for the Michigan, is the same word. And probably the Massa of Massachusetts has a like derivation. Mississippi means great water or great river. It would be more accurately spelled Mississippi. It's different with one S. The French orthographer or Mississippi, just different spellings. The Spanish form both pronounce Mississippi, which is probably close in sound to the Indian spoken words. All right, so they're just trying to put it close to how we originally pronounced that word, Mississippi. All right. The river was known to the Spaniards in the 15th and 17th centuries, chiefly under the name of the Rio del Espiritu Santo, of the River of the Holy Ghost. It was also called by them the Rio Grande de Florida, the Rio del Espiritu Santo, or simply the Rio Grande. By the French, it was given the title of the Little Palisade on account of the numerous cottonwood trees. So cottonwood trees all in Mississippi found on the bar and passes at the mouth. After its exploration by La Salle, it was called the Colbert. The Colbert in honor of the great minister of Louis the 14th. Subsequent to the family or founding of the French colony by d'Iberville in 1699 at Fort Maurepas, it was named St. Louis for the king. All right, but these names all yielded in the time of the ancient Indian name. All right, so these names all yielded in the time of the ancient Indian name. So Mississippi is the original name of that river. All right. All right. So the primitive Mississippi Indian tribes. Now let's check out the tribes. Okay. So the primitive, like we said, first let's just cover up what we covered up. So we know that is an ancient name or a derivative. Mississippi is a derivative of the language, somehow Mississippi, or somehow a derivative of the ancient of that ancient river. All right, of the Choctaw. All right, of the Choctaw traced back in 1861 the derivation from a Choctaw tribe. All right, being translated to beyond age. All right, so that father of waters. Okay, then later when the Spaniards came in, they called it Santos. They called it the French called it different words, Michigan, Michi, and what other words did they call it? Oh yeah, the Rio Grande. Okay, even Florida, the Rio Grande of Florida, because we know, man, the Mississippi runs through all that land mass. Okay, so ancient it is, ancient one, the river, the Nile, the ancient one. All right, so Mississippi Indian tribes. So now we know our water is ancient, baby. Purification. So now, and also we gave it the name because we are the indigenous. So the primitive possessors of the greater part of the present domain of Mississippi were the three historical and powerful tribes of the Choctaws, Chickasaws, and the Natchez. All right, so now as we finna learn, or about to learn, that it's so many tribes within those tribes. All right, and there were smaller tribes around those tribes also. Okay, so the primitive possessors of that great part of the present main of the Mississippi were the three historical and powerful tribes of the Choctaws, the Chickasaws, and the Natchez. In addition to these three important tribes, now hold on, because all right, so we already clarified that these are so-called Nagas, right? We clarified that, right? Okay, so these are the people that are indigenous. These are the people who in the book we just read, America being the latest, greatest, and most accurate description of the New World, containing the inhabitants and voyages of different conquests and vast empires, Peru and Mexico and all the Americas, that is telling you that these were the copper-colored people that were here before these invasions. All right, so we know that, right? Right. Okay. So now let's move on. So Mississippi Indian tribes. Now the primitive possessors of the greater part of the present domain of Mississippi were the three historical tribes. So we know all these presidents were moving out niggas, chasing Indians out. Come on, man. So all the stories you heard and you learned in school was inaccurate, okay? Because it had you thinking that white folks were Indians. It had you thinking that white folks were in America before you. And that's inaccurate, okay? Somebody breathe fire on this shit for me, please. Alright? Y'all know what I'm talking about. All praise. Alright, the primitive possessors, alright. Of the Mississippi were the three historical and powerful tribes of the Choctaws, Chickasaws, and Natchez. In addition to these three important tribes, a number of smaller Indian tribes originally held considerably portions of the role of Mississippi, of the soil. Portions of the soil of Mississippi. Now remember what he said. He said, remember what Brother Two Hawks, what he said. What he had addressed, the fact that we were massacred, taken off the land, taken away from our land, and sent to reservations. Y'all know about Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Greenwood. Alright, y'all know about that. That was in the 1860s, right? Alright. Okay, so look. So, small tribes owning the soil of Mississippi, according to the enumeration given by the eminent authority. Okay, so they're just talking about the counting of the authority, which was, what do we call these people? What do we call them? The registrars. These were the people who archived all these records. Alright, took account of everything. Everything they took account of. Alright, so look. So that's how you can get it back. Alright, so look. In addition to these three important tribes, a number of smaller tribes, Indian tribes, were held considering the soil of Mississippi. Alright, numeration. So, live so. According to the numeration given in eminent authority, H.S. Halbert there lived in the southern part of the state of Biloxi, right? The Pascagoula, the Chosetas, and the Mactobias, and the Chatos, along the Yazoo River. Okay, so you have four different tribes along the Yazoo River: the Pascagoulas, the Chosetas, the Mactobias, and the Chotos. Along the Yazoo River dwelt the tribes of the Chacumas. Alright, the Chacchumas. Alright. So along the Yazoo River dealt the these were the southern part of the state of Biloxi. Those four tribes were from the state of Biloxi. So if you're from the state of Biloxi, alright, the state of Biloxi, the southern part of the state of Biloxi, those tribes were the Pascagoula, the Chosetas, the Mactobias, and the Chotos, alright, the Chatos. Alright, along the Yazoo River dwelt the tribes of the Chachumas, the Tunkias, the Tuntias, I can't really read that, the Yazoos, the Ofagulas, the Kozors, and the Topuchas. Alright, forgive me if I'm saying it wrong, but I think I'm getting real close. Alright, because I feel it. I feel a vibration. So the Tapuchas and the Abatupas. Alright, those are all the tribes along the Yazoo River, man. Now, the great central expanse of the state was the home of the Choctaws. Alright? Granddaddy, I'ma find you. Great-great-granddaddy, I'ma find you. Alright? So the great central expanse of the state was the home of the Choctaws. To their north lay the country of the Chickasaws. All right, so to the north, the great central. So we were in the central. The Choctaws were in the central expand of the state. Was the home of the Choctaws, right in the center. And remember, I told y'all in about 100 videos ago how they would take us out the center and move us way to a foreign land that they call Indian territory, right? But it was really federal territory. All right, the great central expand of the state was the home of the Choctaws. To their north lay the country of the Chickasaws, reaching far up into western Tennessee. All right, into western Tennessee. The Natchez Indians occupied a territory of moderate extent on the Mississippi River in the vicinity of the old town which has preserved their name. Okay, the Natchez. They were near western Tennessee. All right. So if you were from western Tennessee, you could be more than likely a descendant of the Natchez tribes. All right. Scholars assign the Choctaws and the Chickasaws to the Muskogean. All right, to the Muskogean. All right. So now you're finding out that Choctaws and Chickasaws were to the Muskogean, also termed the Muskogean or Choctaw Muskogean. All right, so Choctaw Muskogean pretty much goes together. They're pretty much one. All right, Choctaw is a general tribal name. The Muskogean is a more, personal family tribe, clan name. Families of tribes, okay? Families of tribes, while the Natchez, so the Choctaw Muskogean families of tribes, while the Natchez are assigned to a district or a more distinct linguistic family, okay? The Natchez, the Natchean, the Natchesan, in which many of the best authorities, such as Papal, includes the Tianas, the Tiancas. Some of the authorities also unite with the Natchean family or the Natchesan family. The tribe of the Pascagoula, the Calabasas, the Colapasas, and the Biloxi and Biloxis. Okay, so the tribe of the Pascagoula, the Calabasas, and the Biloxis could be part of the Natchean family. Okay, they unite with the Natchean family. However, argues that the Biloxis and probably the Pascagoulas are properly assigned to the northwestern family known as the Sioux or the Dakota. So they could be in the northwestern family, the Sioux or the Dakota. And Powell takes the same view, speaking in general terms of the Muskogean or the Choctaw Muskogean family. It may be said to have occupied for many centuries prior to the coming of the white races. Alright, so you see, even the white boys say it. Alright, that the Choctaw Muskogean family, it may be said to have occupied for many centuries. Now, they ain't giving that credit because that's only a couple hundred years. So many centuries prior to the coming of the white races, all that vast area of land extending from the Savannah River and at the Atlantic West to the Mississippi River. Alright, so from the Savannah River to the Atlantic West to the Mississippi River, and from the Gulf of Mexico. Man. The Yucatans, man. And from the Yucatans. Man, this is the Marucans, man. This is the Ame'ricans. This is your land. Alright. Gulf of Mexico, north to the Tennessee River, with the exceptions of certain small areas in the possessions of the Yuchi, the Uchi. Alright. Big ups to my sister. My sister over there in the Geechees, over in the Carolinas. Alright. Yuchi. Possession of the Uchi, Natchez, and some small settlements of the Shawnee. Seventh annual report of the Bureau of Ethnology. Alright. Yeah, so that's what it is, family. So as you can see, now y'all could go, just pause that, go back to it, but you can see you caught wind of some of those, the family tribes, those family clans, those tribes. Okay, so you can dig into that. So I'm finding out that me being from the General Choctaw tribe in the Mississippi, like I said, my families was in the Mississippi area. Now we finding out we gonna get to the counties, all right. But like I said, we were from the Tupelo area, but that don't mean nothing. These counties are right next to each other, and you had large tribes. Your tribes were large, man. So we gonna get into that. Okay, and then you gotta also understand that this was a bunch of mating too. I mean, we were uniting. When you talk about uniting, we talk about uniting our families. Okay? So it's real, man, and it's real, but this is all your spiel before they even got over here, okay? Now, let's get into this. Okay? Let's get into this. The first white settlers in Mississippi. Now, we're going to get into some dates also. But yeah, the first white settlers in Mississippi. Let's see if something. Why is it going down? I need you to go up. I need you to go up with me. This cool right here though. Alright. So we're going to get into the first white settlers in Mississippi. Alright. Those of you, if you just tuned in, this is one of the official and statistical register of the state of Mississippi Department of Archives and History. Okay, so we hitting them over the head with some real shit. We looking for food. This was a free download, man. Internet Archive. You too can get this. All right. So first white settlers in Mississippi. All right. This is the old Biloxi at Fort Maurepas. All right. This is April 8, 16. Looks like 59. I'm not sure though. All right. 16. I'm not sure, but we gonna figure it out because we gonna get some other dates. So it's no big. Let me see if I can just beam it up, Scotty. See if I can blow it up a little bit. Okay, it's getting a little bigger, ain't it? Yeah, I think we had it last time. That's like 1659. I think that's 1659 if I'm not mistaken. I think that's 1659. Yeah, I'm thinking that's 1659. Oh wait. Yeah, I'm thinking that's 1659. Okay, so here we go. Alright, so this is the first white settlers in Mississippi. Let's get it popping. This important document, which gives the names of the first white settlers on Mississippi soil, has been preserved in the office of the Minister of the Colonies in Paris, France, and may be found in series. Alright, now, first of all, so this is the first white settlers, right? The people that first went to settle, right? To settle Now this is after all the clearing out. Understand this now. This is after, when they're establishing the land. Okay, when they're establishing the people to the land. Okay, these are the first white settlers. Now this is in 59 or 16. I'm not sure, but we're going to get to it. But the point is, if this is 1699, right? Now this is right before they're starting the so-called Americas, which would be in the 1700s. As you can see, they was land grabbing and thieving and massacring all up until those times. Now you got first record of different from now you got from the British, the Spanish, the French, the English. You understand? And before that, you got the Greeks. Alright, so, but the most important thing is that if it's 1699 or 1639 or 1659, if there were so-called Nagas on the land, 1699, the first white man here to settle. I mean, what are we arguing about? What are we really arguing about? Alright, because you got even back to dates 1452, and even you got dates back to 1300 of explorations. Alright, now these were the explorations. So, who do you think they were snatching up during these explorations to make the first white man be able to settle here? Who do you think that they were snatching up? Who do you think that they were massacring? Was it other white people? So what are we talking about? C13 General Correspondence Relating to Louisiana, Volume 1, pages 269 to 219 or 209 to 219. Accurate transcripts of this collection of document dealing with the founding of Mississippi are on file in the Department of Archives and History. Y'all get that? The collection is preserved in 34 bound volumes. The collection is preserved in 34 bound volumes. This list appears in print for the first time. It gives the names of the garrison only. A careful search is being made in the French archives for the names of the 200 colonists who accompanied D'Iberville. 200 colonists who accompanied him. So we got a record of Rockford, August 25th, 16. I'm not sure. It looks like 1619, maybe even. I'm not sure though. 1639, maybe. I'm not sure. Extract of the budget necessary for the salaries of the staff officers, petty officers, sailors, and other persons left in garrison at Fort Maurepas in the Bay of Biloxi. So this was a docket to extract out of a budget for the salaries of the staff officers, petty officers, sailors, and other persons. Alright? So all these cats was basically getting paid to come over here and massacre you. Extract of the funds which must be paid out in Rockford for the salaries of the staff officers, petty officers, sailors, and other persons left in the garrison on the Bay of Biloxi to the end of the year of 1699. That's what it is. It's 1699. So, there were 326 staff officers, 238 petty officers, 63 sailors, and 719 Canadians. The first white settlers in Mississippi. Okay, 429 freebooters, 229 laborers, and 66 cabin boys. Soldiers, they will be paid from the funds of the port until the end of the year, hence nothing. Okay, and the total was 2,065 people. There were 2,065 people coming over here. Now, would you say that's on a numerous of ships? Now, is this one company? So, remitted in the Rockfort by a statement on August 29th, I'm not sure, 1699. August 25th, 1699. Roll of the staff officers, petty officers, sailors, Canadians, freebooters, soldiers, laborers, and cabin boys who have been left in the garrison by Mr. D'Iberville at the fort of Mariposa in Mississippi River on the coast of Florida, to whom are due the sum hereinafter indicated for each of them to begin according to the terms of their engagement on the first day after the termination of the advances made to them in France, and to, making a deal with France on the island of San Domingo until the last day of December of the present year of 1699. Make the discount to the end of the year to remit the present. Alright, so you can see they're just basically hooking up the pay for when these guys are going to have to be over here for all that time before they get paid at the end of the year. So now it goes into the list of names. So Mr. D. Sawville is a commander at 200 livres. Began May 5th, 1699. The rest of the time as assigned, he has paid on the vessel. Okay, he has been paid on the vessel. They were on a vessel, the Marine. So they were taking submarines, subships, steamboats over here, man. Okay, now you got a list of petty officers. Hold up, we getting somewhere. You got a list of sailors, the first white. You got a list of the sailors in Mississippi, first white settlers in Mississippi. Right? In 1698. First white settlers in Mississippi. Okay, so these are all your workmen, your laborers, right? Down to your cabin boys. First white settlers in Mississippi. Names of the soldiers remaining. These were the names of the soldiers, individual names of the soldiers. This is about the pay. Okay, that was about the pay. Okay. First white settlers. Okay. Hold on, no, we missing something. Hold on. Okay. Okay, so now let's get into the making of Mississippi. Alright, so we know that they was coming in around 1699, right? On the workers were coming in. All your sailors and your ship people, your cabin boys, all of them were coming in 1699. So the making of Mississippi. Alright. So let's check this out. Alright, native dominion. When the territory, which is now the state of Mississippi, was first explored by white men, it was owned and occupied by the following tribes of Indians, all right, which were so-called black people, all right, the Natchez, Choctaws, and Chickasaws, Biloxis, Pascagoulas, the Choctumas, the Tunicas, and Yazoos. All right, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tribes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 8 tribes. Territory in which the state of Mississippi was owned. All right, this is when the first explored by the white men. All right, the Natchez, the Choctaws, the Chickasaws, Biloxis, the Pascagoulas, the Choctumas, the Tunicas, and the Yazoos. The most numerous and powerful tribes were the Chickasaws and the Choctaws. All right, the former lived in the northern and the later in the central. Okay, Choctaws in the central and south part of the state. The Natchez Indians lived along the Mississippi River. Okay, the Natchez were on the Mississippi River in the present countries of Adam, Claiborne, Jefferson, and Wilkinson. All right, the Biloxi and the Pascagoula occupied the Gulf Coast country. All right, the Tunicas and the Yazoo tribes had their hunting grounds along the Yazoo River. The Choctumas lived in the eastern part of the state. All right, so then we get down to the Spanish Dominion from 1512 to 1699. All right, Spain, by the right of discovery, claimed nearly all the great continent of North America, which was given the name of Florida by the early Spanish navigators and explorers. All right, the title of the country was rather general and undefined, but remained, I don't know about that, but remained unchallenged until the coming of the English and French. All right, so they're saying it was unchallenged until the English and the French. What is now the state of Mississippi remained nominally under the dominion of Spain until 1699. All right, when the French, under Pierre Lumoun de Beville, made a settlement in Biloxi. The kings of Spain, hence of Mississippi, from 1512 to 1699 were Ferdinand Ferdinand and Charles and Philip the first, second, third, fourth, and third. All right, so that goes with what he says. What Two Hawks says about King Philip. All right, under King Philip is where we lost everything. So in 1699, the kings of Spain, hence of Mississippi, from 1512 to 1699 under this King Philip. All right. So the Spanish being the first. Okay. And then you have the French coming in. Then you have the English. Okay. Then you have the Spanish again in 1781, 1798. In the summer of 1712, Spain had declared war against England. Don Bernardo, the Spanish governor, attacked the English province in West Florida and made it part of the possession of Spain in America by March 9, 1781. Okay. All right, American Dominion. By virtue of the Treaty of San Lorenzo, which was made October 27, 1795, the Natchez District became a part of the United States. The Mississippi Territory was formed by an act of Congress, April 7, 1798. For more detailed information relative to Mississippi from 1798 to the present, see an outline history of Mississippi in this volume. All right, so we can get to that. But what we want to get to is, now it goes into the territorial government, but what we want to get to, I'll show you one second. What we want to get to is There's your seal, 1540 seal. There's your labeling your Mississippi boundaries to the Tennessee line. But what we want to get to is the inhabitants of Mississippi in 1816. Ooh. Alright, 1816. Now, from the original rolls on file in the Department of Archives and History, a census was taken in 1816 by authority of the General Assembly in connection with the movement for the statehood, and is of unusual interest. In the following table, it is separate into the historical regions. Alright, so look. So now, let's see how, check this out. Now y'all pay attention. So, we got the Natchez District. Okay, now we know this is the districts are your, excuse me, are your tribal districts. Hold on one second.
Our potential is way up here, and we are operating way down.
Okay, so now these are the, excuse me, sorry about that. So the districts are the actual tribes. So you got the Natchez District, right? So now, Adams, Wilkinson, Amite, Jefferson, Claiborne, Warren, Franklin. These are the names of the counties. Okay, these are your counties, right? Am I correct? No. Am I correct? Hold up one second. Yeah, these are your counties, man. These are your counties. Okay, so it lets you know to each county, right, in the tribal districts, right, it lets you know how many free whites, how many free colored, and how many slaves. Now, if you can look at this, right, you can see, look at the graph, you can see that the free colored were nowhere near the amount of the free white slaves. Okay, but if you put, a lot of times if you put the free number of free color with the slaves, shit, it was more than the actual free whites. Which brings you to another question that I'm not even going to address. But so in Adams County you had 3,000, and I think that's maybe 408 or 608 free whites. You only had 129 free colored. Okay, but then slaves you had 4,394. Alright, is that correct? Alright, so let's see something once. Okay, these are the heads of the families at Adams County. Okay, so good. Okay, so now that's what it does. It gives you all the counties right here, right? Yeah, it gives you all the counties. All the counties in Mississippi. You got Adams, Wilkinson, Amite, Jefferson, Claiborne, Warren, Franklin, Pike, Lawrence, Marion, Greene, Wayne, Hancock, Jackson, Mobile, Clark, Washington, Baldwin, no, that's incorrect. These are the actual names, man. It gotta be. Okay, these are the actual names. Yes, they are. Okay, in the districts, okay, I got it now. There's a total of 45,000, okay, people. Okay, I got it. So what this is, Okay, the district, these are the actual names. The next graph, it gets into a little easier. But as you can see, these are the names, right? If I'm not mistaken. But we'll figure it out as we get into it. So you got 129 free colored, 3,600 free whites, 4,300 slaves. Okay, hold on, let's go to this next page because it's a little easier to read. Okay, so this is the census of 1816 in Adams County, Mississippi. Alright, so now these are the heads of the families. The heads of the families in 1816. So, as you can see, what names are these? Alright, these are English names. Brian Wilkerson, D. France. Okay, so look, these are the heads of the families in Adams County. And there was a lot. Oh boy. Hold on, just give me a second. Okay, yeah, this is Claiborne County. Okay, yeah, Allen, yeah, I'm right. So, alright, so let's go back. Give me a little more clear. Okay. So, right, okay, got it. So this is the actual contents, table of contents right here. Let's go back real quick. Alright. Sorry about that, y'all. So now this is the actual table of contents then. Okay, so Adams is the actual county. So these are the county. Wilkerson is the county. Amite, there's an Amite, Mississippi. That's the county. Okay? So that means that there were these amount of people in that row when you total it that went to that county, that, you know, that were registered in the county. Alright, so the free colors didn't have any competition when it came to 3,600 free whites, but there were a lot of slaves. Okay, so these are all the slaves that went to those counties, right? So there's a Jackson County, Mobile County. Alright. Okay, Tennessee River was 10,000. 10,000 free whites. And no, in Madison, there were 10,000 free whites, no free color, and 4,200 slaves. 4,200 slaves. Alright. So it totaled out to almost 80,000 people in Mississippi. So these are all your counties. So y'all go check into that. Alright. So let me find. Now what I'm looking for, right, is anybody with the name, what I'm trying to, hold on, let me go back a little bit. Let me go back a little bit. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Now, could that be 16, 19? I wonder. No, okay. Alright, so as you can see, the first white settlers in 1699, right? The first white settlers are in 1699. Going with all your staff officers, petty officers, your sailors, and your Canadians. Alright. Now, this is in 1816. this is in 1816. Now here we go with the European names again, right? I mean, not now they're in the actual in the counties, named after the counties, right? After they had put the shit together, right? So, sorry about that. So now, as we go over to what that list said before, is actually, okay, 1816 now. These are in your actual counties, right? Alright, so now we need to go over to like, alright, so you got all these counties. Madison County, so now it gives you all the individual list of names, right? All the individual list of names. In all the counties. In all the counties. All these are all the heads of families, okay? All the heads of families. These are all the taxpayers, okay? So now these are all the white, these are actually the white people, right? So they say these are taxpayers in Mobile County, all the heads of the families in Mobile County, right? Okay, so now we're just going through different counties. Now you can get this same drop and go through. What I was trying to find is, I should have took note of it, because now I'm just breezing through. What I was trying to find, now what I'm trying to find is anybody with my last name. So out of all these settlers, right, out of all these people who settled in Mississippi, right, now I'm trying to find someone with my last name. Okay, what page are we on? So alright, give me a second. Alright, so far. So I started on like page, I don't remember what page I started on, but on a page 103, the taxpayers in Jackson County in 1817. Alright, I found one person with the same last name as me. This is in Jackson County. Alright, so fortunate, this name is the exact name, Stephen Bradford. Stephen Bradford on page 105 in Jackson County, Mississippi. Jackson County, Mississippi. Alright, so now let's go back here once. No, too far. In Jackson. Right here. Alright. So where's Jackson? Jackson. So in Jackson you had 714 free whites and 42 free colored and 255 slaves. Alright, this is in Jackson. So that means you had a number of people that were named free whites that were named Bradford. You had a couple of free colored that were named Bradford, and since they owned slaves, you had a couple of slaves that were named Bradford also. All three under English names, because the slaves owners had to take on English names also. The free colored had to take on those names also, right? Or do we need to check into that? But I'm thinking so also, but I don't know. Because you do have some so-called Negroes here in America that were always here that have indigenous names, or maybe their family changed it, you know, after everything. So I don't know. So, but therefore, I'm speaking for myself as far as Bradford. That is, it's an Anglo-Saxon name, so it's a, you know, it's from, you know, it's not from. How could, yeah, it's translated into European name. All right, so therefore, so under this in 1816, we got the data. 1816, there's 714 free whites that settled in Jackson. There's 42 free colored that are still that remain there, and there's 255 slaves. So when you go back to the taxpayers in Jackson County, Mississippi in 1817, this is your 700 plus of white freemen and of black freemen. Okay, and here's all the names. Okay, and by the looks of it, the slaves didn't have the names of the slave. So as you can look and read, how many names do you have right here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe 30. Maybe 30. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Another 10. That's about 30. That's about 30. That's 60. So, you know, a lot of them were families. So you got to count these names under family, because these are just the head of the families. So these are the head of the family. So there's 30, maybe 25 here, 30 here. Okay. So there's probably what? Maybe 120 families. This is probably 60. This 60. This is 30, this 30, that's 60, that's another 60, that's 120. So this is like 120 families out of 750, you know, people. Of the names, not including the slaves. Okay? So Bradford is one of them. Stephen Bradford right here. This is one family. Okay? Not knowing how many, though, of those 750, not including the slaves. Okay, so we got a record for Stephen Bradford, 1816 in Jackson, recorded, registered in Jackson. Now we just got to find out who that was. Okay, because this guy right here owned slaves. This guy right here, Stephen Bradford, in 1816 owned slaves, owned American Indians. And that's who I need to find out, because they took on his name. Those American Indians took on his name. Therefore, in 1906, you get my great-grandfather, R.W. Bradford. Okay, so that's a trail, man. I'm on their ass. Y'all get this drop. Y'all know what it is. It's called the official statistical register of the state of Mississippi. All right, so you do that for your state. There will be a register. There will be an official statistical register. All right, from your state. Y'all check it out. Y'all check that out. All right, so we never did find out this treaty, did we? Did we ever read this? The Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek was a treaty signed on September 27, 1830, and proclaimed on February 24, 1831, between the Choctaw Ame'rican Indian tribe. This is in 1831. All right, this is the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek. Okay, September 27, 1830. Alright, proclaimed February 1831 between the Choctaw American Indian tribe and the United States government. This was the first removal treaty carried in effect under the Indian Removal Act. The treaty ceded about 11 million acres of land of the Choctaw Nation in what is now called Mississippi. Alright, for about 15 million acres of Indian territory now. So we traded in, oh man, did I just lose it? 11 million acres. Okay. Oh, now they sell in exchange for 15 million. Come on, you believe that? You really believe that? In exchange for 15 million in Indian territory, now the state of Oklahoma. Right? And what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Greenwood? Must we go there? So gave us 15 million so-called, and what happened? What happened in the South Central region, bordered by Kansas, Missouri? What happened over there? Yeah, the principal Choctaw negotiators were Chief Greenwood LaFleur. Okay, this is 1830. Chief Greenwood LaFleur of the Mashu. Look, who is that? Huh? Mashula Tubi was the chief of the Choctaw Okla Tanap. Okay, one of the three major Choctaw divisions during the early 19th century. What is the color? Look at that copper. Mississippi at the time of the removal. So, you see that name? Mishula Tubi. Alright, that's Mishula Tubi. He got removed because he kept his name. You see that? That was removed because the name was kept. Alright? The name was kept. So now you go over here, it's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different ball game. Stephen Bradford, 1816. Okay? By 1830, Trail of Tears. Alright? Up until all of it, man, it was Trail of Tears was going on for a long time. So you get it? So this Stephen Bradford transferred an Indian tribe name over to this Bradford. So I need to find out what Indian tribe name was over to this Bradford. This is 1816. We got pushed to Oklahoma, as you can see, for 30 years, 1830 to 1860. Alright, so, and on. I mean, it's not even, man, I can't even, don't let me lie to you, because the Trail of Tears lasted for a very long time till even it changed through the ethnicity. So then for the white Indians start getting pushed to Oklahoma too. Right? So man, listen. White Indian, mulatto Indian, Mongo Indian, the same thing happened to you. So you got to talk about what happened to us. So if you ignore what happened to us, what you think? We just going to ignore what happened to you. We all must come together. Yeah, they made you fight against us over land, right? Over life, over your life, because you didn't know no other way. So therefore, let's all forgive each other for everything, man. But we have to know the enemy. You know what I'm saying? So we must know that you have to acknowledge that the children are coming home. The children are coming home. Vibration is law, and law is. Shalom, family.